Hello interwebs, welcome to Let's Fix Computers. I've got a pretty straightforward one today. I've got a Lenovo, whatever this is. It's an IdeaPad 314 that doesn't power on, and it's not powering on because the charging jack is knackered. As you can see, there's no center pin on that. It looks more like a headphone jack now. So we're going to be putting a new DC jack in this, which I've got on hand. This is going to be a pretty easy job, and I normally wouldn't bother filming this because I could do it in 5 minutes without the cameras rolling. However, I've been having a lot of problems with the video recording setup as of late, which is one of the contributors toward the slow video schedule. However, this week I reinstalled Windows and set everything up again from scratch. And so this is more of a... I guess this is more of a dress rehearsal run. I just want to record a video, get to editing, and see how it behaves. I've got the cameras on 30 frames a second at the moment just for reliability. I would like to get them up to 60 FPS where they should be again, just so you get that lovely smooth movement. But one step at a time. Let's get everything going again, and then once I'm happy that the recording setup is actually stable again, I'll start pushing the quality back up. So anyway, I've already taken the screws out the bottom of this, and let's just pop the bottom cover off. And as you will see in a moment, in Lenovo's infinite wisdom, I'm pretty certain they're still doing this on their brand new ones as well. But, hello, this is taking longer than I thought. Ugh. Come on, come on. In Lenovo's infinite wisdom, the DC jack is soldered on. So instead of just having a little DC jack on a fly lead like basically everyone else, like the other brands have solved this problem. DC jack replacements are just not a thing on other laptops anymore because it's just a solved problem. But Lenovo are like, yeah, let's keep soldering that sucker on like they did 2 decades ago, and it was terrible. Anyway. So we've got to take the motherboard out, desolder the old one, solder the new one on, put it back together again. That's it. That's the video. Let's roll the intro, and I will come down for the close-up, and we'll start disassembling this. See you in a mo. I'm thankful this laptop doesn't look too bad on the inside. It was actually filthy when it came in. Like it was one of those like gross, I don't want to touch this laptop levels of filthy when it came in. And like long-term watchers know that I'm not afraid of like dust and a bit of grime. You know, that's part of the job. But yeah, this one was proper grim. I should have recorded the cleanup of it because yeah, but I didn't know I was going to make a video about this at the start. Otherwise, I would have. I'm pretty sure that there is an audience for me just cleaning laptops, and I really should figure out a setup to capitalize on that. You know, if YouTube can sell people on a couple of blokes cleaning really filthy rugs, I'm sure I can sell short form videos of me just cleaning really gross laptops. But then again, because it's tech, there's always going to be a bunch of people in the comments going, "Ah, you didn't clean it properly." So, However, the inside of this is actually in pretty good shape considering how dirty the outside was. So, yeah, that's nice. Also, I just need to record the easy ones more often just because there's something therapeutic in the easy jobs where, you know, it's not complicated or stressful. It's just watching a guy make a computer work again, you know. Not everything has to be not everything has to change a world and make you rethink your outlook on computer repair and go, "Wow, I learned something today." A lot of you guys are here just because you just want to watch a person fix a thing. And so part of that is just me streamlining the video making process so it's not a pain in the ass to make a video. Because while my recording process is pretty straightforward and low effort as it is, is still a level of effort. It's still more effort than not recording. God, the soldering on this is garbage. Has this been done before? That's just not on. Like, the joints are dry. That's got to be the factory solder, because if someone had replaced that before, there would be signs all over it. You know, a hand solder job leaves plenty of fingerprints. But yeah, that's atrocious build quality. What happened? Like, that's not the reason why it broke. It broke because the center pin is missing, and that's just the customer being rough with it. But like, yeah, that was an accident waiting to happen anyway. Huh. I don't even think I'm kind of just tempted to just snap that out and not even. Yeah, okay. I think I need to get the soldering iron on the back pin, because that's actually in properly, and that's the positive pin where it matters. But yeah, who knows? All right, let's turn on the soldering iron. I'm going to flow some fresh solder onto that back pin. I can't heat that up. Well, I can try and heat that up, but there's not a lot of mass there to get onto, so it might not go very well. Oh, I think that's going to go, actually. I can see that going. Maybe. Cool. Oh, there's just enough. Yeah, there's just enough solder here to make it hold on. Okay. I'm going to adjust the angle a bit, because trying to do this under the scope is a bit close. Okay, I lied. I just snapped it off. All right. I'll just quickly lob this in the vise, because that'll just hold the board up, so I can just use some tweezers to grab hold of the last of that pin on the left side while I soldering iron on the right side. Yeah, that's wild. That's so bad that I basically don't need to desolder it. I've never seen anything like this. Can I push the new one in, or is that going to need a little bit of work? Those anchors might just be a little bit blocked. Yeah, they'll go in. That needs a little bit of clearing, so let's just clean up that hole. Oh, I love it when the wick works. If you are learning to solder, wicking holes clear like this is a lot harder than it looks. Wow, this camera is just in the way now. Okay. Like, that was more luck than skill there, but whatever. The modern meta for changing out ports like this is to hot air it out and then keep the area hot and just drop the new one straight in on molten solder. And you need to do that nice and quick so you don't melt the new connector. I have historically always tried to clear all the holes, and that is just, it's a lot easier to learn to hot air the connector in, let me put it that way. Both methods are valid and work, but learning the hot air drop-in method is definitely the way forward. Can tell you that from experience. Right, let's just tack down those anchors. Come on, it's all cold. I'll put some flux on this in a minute. I just want to make sure it doesn't jump out. where all of this is sitting on top of a ground plane, it sucks the heat out of the iron. I'm only at 380 degrees, mind you, so, you know. Right, nice big solder blobs on everything now. I probably use way more solder than what's needed. But I tell you what, when you put a lot of solder on something, it ain't going to fall out. I will try and clean up that ground plane just a touch, though, because that's a little bit excessive. Just see if we can remove the spill. Oh, that's going to be a pain in the ass. Now I've put solder everywhere except the anchor hole. Awesome. Alright. That's that sorted. Let's touch up the other side, and then we'll clean it all up with a little bit of alcohol. Come on. I don't want to turn the soldering iron sideways because it'll immediately flood that ground plane again. There we go. Linger on that just to make sure that the leg is actually heated. There we go. All right. And a little bit more on you for good measure. And a little bit of alcohol just to clean up the flux residue now. Try not to ruin the Captain tape on top of the DC jack. Not that it matters. You can take that tape off. It's just there to protect it during manufacturing. However, also it does try and keep some crud out of the DC jack. There we go, that's one new DC jack fitted, and as a special treat it has a center pin, so it will actually take a charger now. Right, while I'm here, let's just replace the thermal paste as well, because like I said, this thing wasn't super dusty on the inside, however it was filthy on the outside, which doesn't bode well for the condition of the laptop, and also just modern laptops, doing the thermal paste is actually important. In previous videos, yeah, dry as a bone. In previous videos, I did used to be like, you don't need to bother with the thermal paste unless you have a reason to. But I will concede that that's just not the case anymore. For a very long time, CPUs just sort of, they hung out in like sort of 70 to 80 degrees or so. And the thermal paste would last almost the lifetime of the laptop, unless the laptop had been like dusty and cooking or something like that. But modern laptops with floating boost, where if the CPU is not at 100 degrees, it will just boost harder. They just roast the thermal paste. So on basically any laptop that is sort of ninth generation, Intel 9th generation onwards, or just 2018, 2019 onwards, you can expect to find that it has baked the thermal paste when you come around to servicing it. So yeah, we just do the thermal paste on everything now. There we go. I'll check the BIOS battery as a special treat as well. And I'm going to bring the multimeter into this camera view so I don't have to re-encode the multimeter cam. Right, how are you doing? Please don't be flat. 3.02 volts. It's showing minus because I've got the probes the wrong way around. You know... Okay, I'll change it. Yeah. My own rules are if the battery is less than 3.1, change it. So I will follow my own advice and stick a new one in. It's not low enough to be causing a problem yet, but the problem is, in order to change it, someone's got to take the laptop apart. I mean, the motherboard doesn't have to come out, so it's not that hard to change. I guess I'm just like, yeah, following my own advice here. Practice what I preach. I keep the new ones in stock, so it's kind of a non-issue. New ones come with an obnoxiously long wire on them. It's beautiful. There we go. There's probably someone out there that would do an artisanal job of replacing that BIOS battery. That person is not me. Right, and let's just plug a charger into there and check we get a charge light. Which we do. Good. And that went in with a nice satisfying click, which is also a good sign. And the laptop power light is coming on. And there's our Lenovo screen. Excellent. This thing's already running Windows 11, so I don't need to worry about doing that update. So this thing is basically ready to go now. That's all. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you on the next... Thank you everyone for watching. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye for now.